Indeed, our cry all the time is to be able to resist the oppressor's rule. The oppressor, for this matter, obviously is illegal mining, but NAMOS is committed, and that is why it's time for us to render accounts on what NAMOS has been doing during the period under review. The one, of course, obviously, to execute that function is the NAMOS Director of Operations. But for those of us who do not know him, I think it's expedient I read a few lines to tell us more about the man mandated by governments to lead the fight against illegal mining where enforcement is concerned. Colonel Dominic Bois was born at Jomoro, district of the Western Region, on the 24th of November 1975. He attended Prempeh College for his GCE and A-level certificate before enlisting into the Ghana Military Academy on the 15th of October 1998. I shall have to skip all of that because it's quite lengthy and touched on a few other ones. Colonel Dominic Bois has served in UN peace support operations in Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ivory Coast, and as military observer at Abyei and DR Congo. In January 2025, he was seconded to the Ghana Cocoa Board to help formulate a strategy which is currently, we have to emphasize that, being adopted for combating the smuggling of cocoa beans from Ghana to neighboring countries. Upon submission of the Cocoa Board strategy, Colonel Bois was once again seconded to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources together with a team that was tasked to draft a national framework for addressing the galamsey menace facing the country. He was subsequently appointed as the first Director of Operations for the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, and has been serving since that particular moment. Shall we now receive to the podium the Director of Operations for NAMOS, Colonel Dominic Bois. A round of applause for Colonel Bois. The presentation would be for 30 minutes. After that, we will take your questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pakosi Shamdov. Distinguished members of the press, I'm indeed honored this morning to address you on our common enemy, which is galamsey, and how we are attempting to address it. Before I continue the presentation, I'll crave your indulgence. So we'll watch a little clip covering what NAMOS has been doing. So please. Thank you very much, audiovisual. So we are here this morning to talk about galamsey fight. And as I've captured the NAMOS as a national legal regulatory coordinating framework governing mining oversight, environmental compliance, and enforcement. So that's what we are going to talk about. I'm sure we are all aware that by 2025, when the new government took over, the topic of illegal mining was the topmost. And on a daily basis, we could hear from the mass media. Now, all our river bodies were virtually polluted with chemicals. And then forest reserves were severely degraded. Now, communities which stayed along river bodies had their water bodies polluted. And then economically, Ghana was suffering. We all bear witness to what happened last year when the media, you, the friends of the media, were up in arms on galamsey, and rightly so, because it was a national crisis that needed to be addressed. There was scarcely a day that there was no publication on galamsey, both in the print, electronic media, social media was awash. Civil society groups, community groups, and everybody in Ghana talked about galamsey. And that was rightly so, because that was a key challenge to all of us. The question, however, was not whether it would be solved. We had to solve it, but we needed some level of clarity on it. There was pressure, and then we noticed that multiple groups, different organizations, we had the police, the IGP Special Task Force, who were doing very well. The armed forces units were also doing well. The RECSEC and DISEC, that's Regional Security Council and District Security Councils, were all in arms, attempting to fight the illegal mining or galamsey menace. Most troubling was the existence of rogue elements, groups who were going around basically extorting money from galamseyers and then even legitimate miners. There are several examples which we had. It was clear, however, that there was the need for direction from a fresh government which had taken over. On the back of all this scenario, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, which has oversight over all mining affairs, convened a high-level committee to look at the issue of illegal mining, all the initiatives that have been put together over the years, and they recommend workable solution to the challenge. So we had eminent persons chaired by one of our revered generals, who was a former Chief of Defense Intelligence, General Abetadu, who was the chairman. And then we have a Major General who was a former commandant of the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Rear Admiral Bekbafo, retired. Then there was a professor from Legon, a head of department, Professor Henkan. And then an executive secretary of the Council of State, Mr. Blay, Stephen Blay. And then my very self was humbled to be appointed as secretary to the committee. We did diligent work, having looked at all the previous initiatives. So you can talk about the Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, that's Professor Frimpong-Boate's document and all that, the work they did. We looked at Gallant Stop, we looked at Vanguard, we looked at Operation Halt 1, Operation Halt 2, and a whole lot of other initiatives from RECSEC and DISEC that had been put together in the past. As a result of that diligent work, we submitted a framework which touched on three main pillars for handling the illegal mining menace. We talked about prevention, that is, preventing the ills going on Then restoration, we talked about getting back the ecosystem which had been damaged. And then, of course, if anybody told you that you can stop mining in Ghana, well, I don't believe it. Mining, as His Excellency the President keeps saying, will go on. However, it's the sustainability which we are looking at. The health impact, the risk with the galamsey must be stopped. So we're looking at sustainability of mining. Those were the three pillars: prevention, restoration, and sustainability of mining. Now, as part of that work, there was a key element that the committee identified, and that was coordination. Coordination appeared to be lacking, even though all the previous initiatives have good intents and purposes. They all geared towards addressing it, but because we didn't have clear coordination, everybody, every institution was doing their own thing. And therefore, when this happens, you realize that we cannot control the allocation of resources. Then also, we cannot point at a target. There will be duplication of effort and so many things that were meant to bring us good results, but then we couldn't control. So the committee recommended that there should be a coordinating body. And that coordinating body fortunately gave rise to what we are having today as NAMOS, the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operation Secretariat, which I am humbled and proud to be the Director of Operations. We have operated for a little over 10 months, and I can tell you that NAMOS has chalked enormous success. But I cannot assess myself, or we cannot assess ourselves. You are the mouthpiece of Ghana. You are the observers. You are the reporters. And it's appropriate that we frequently engage you so that we learn from you. You review the progress made. We make you aware of what we are doing. And then you can give us your guidance for the way forward. So that is our aim this morning, for us to collectively assess the operations of the NAMOS in addressing our collective challenge and the way forward. So I have a small scope. I'll run through the scope. We see that we'll give a background to NAMOS. We talked about the structure of it, then how we do the core job, the collaboration and coordination, then some metrics, achievements to show you what is happening on the ground, then a few challenges, and then we talk about a forecast of what to expect in 2026, which we have already started. So NAMOS is basically a coordinating body. I've given the background, so I won't talk much about it. That is what NAMOS is. Where does it take its legal mandate from? It is the responsibility of the Sector Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Emmanuel Makufupua, to ensure that there is sanity in the mining space. And therefore, out of that mandate for the minister, that is where the NAMOS derives its power. Indeed, others have suggested there should be an LI to back it, but it is well grounded in the powers of the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. And therefore, we take instructions from the ministry, which is having the oversight to ensure that mining is done and done responsibly in the country. So there is a framework. We have to coordinate, but at the same time, you can't just coordinate without ensuring that the right things are done. So apart from the coordination, which encompasses everything concerning illegal mining, we also have some objectives set for ourselves. Some of the objectives concern environmental sanity, coordination of the state security, and then also coordination with local communities. One of the aspects that was ignored to some extent was the involvement of the chiefs and local communities, and then even the DISECs and REGSECs. The point is that they are the people at the grassroots. And therefore, if you don't look at them very well, you may get things wrong. Now, let me backtrack a bit and say that based on the work that was done, the framework that was submitted, another key aspect which the government looked at, or the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources looked at and came up was that it came up with a 5-point strategy, we call it a multi-pronged approach to addressing the root causes. And these were around issues of licensing reforms. We had the issue of education and awareness, because a lot of people out there didn't even know about the risk they were facing in the field. Then enforcement, within which NAMOS sits, is also one of the key pillars. Then there is the issue of restoration of the degraded ecosystem. And the 5th point, which was the creation of responsible, sustainable livelihood. Responsible, alternative livelihood. So those were the pillars based on which the ministry, which champions the affairs of the government for the illegal mining space, that's the framework on which we are working. So NAMOS takes this source from this for the enforcement ambit. Now, based on the objectives that we set in the framework, we were given a mandate. And the mandate of NAMOS hinges on these principles, as you see: accountability, interagency collaboration, community engagement, transparency, rule of law, which is key, because if you send soldiers out there to operate and they don't operate within the rule of law, we have collateral damage, we have judgment debt, and a whole lot of things. It is one key principle that governs the affairs of NAMOS. Of course, environmental stewardship underlies our operations. Next. So we have a clear mandate, which was given by the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. And the first of them is to coordinate the activities of state security agencies, as we are doing, developing field strategies and operational tactics to clear illegal mining. Then, of course, enforcing environmental rules and regulations in coordination with other state security, state agencies like the EPA, Minerals Commission, Water Resources Commission, and Forestry Commission, and others. Of course, we collaborate with traditional leaders and local communities. Then we collaborate with the national security setup for synergy in the fight. One key aspect is that the minister now gets regular reports. Now, let me state that the minister is not the only one who steers the affairs of NAMOS. There is a committee, which I'll talk about, who work closely with the minister and give direction so that NAMOS doesn't derail. So how do we conduct operations? NAMOS operations are conducted from 3 main legs. First of all is intelligence-led. We have a wide array of intelligence staff locally deployed on the ground. We call them informants, but we call them intelligence staff. People don't know them, but they give us up-to-date information on what is happening on the ground. So many of them. They include chiefs, people you may see, excuse me to say, you think they are not well, may be reporting for NAMOS. And that is why our operations are very targeted. We also have the Blue Water Guard initiative. They are also community-based, and they are the riverine communities to provide up-to-date information to guide NAMOS operations. Of course, we have the NIB, is it BNI now? Okay, NIB, who are with us, and we use the system on the ground already. The wide network of police service, the Ghana Armed Forces, and the DISEX in particular, so that we can work effectively. That's the first leg. The second leg is on petitions. A lot of the times, these galamseyers go and seize people's concessions, create a lot of chaos. They wield weapons and even prevent them from mining legally. Of course, the chiefs also send a lot of petitions. Communities, civil society organizations. Once these petitions get to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, they are scrutinized, evaluated, and then NAMOS is then directed, and we carry out the operations and review accordingly. So petition-based operations are conducted. Then, of course, we have the feedback process where the two approaches I've talked about, we go back and then revisit, review, and go back to conduct operations. This may be not very clear, but then NAMOS is not just the task force you see in the field. It's a whole structure, network. As you already heard, we had an administrator who is a lawyer who guides me a bit because I'm not a lawyer. But as you can see on the screen, there is the minister responsible for lands and natural resources who is the head of the NAMOS and is closely counseled or advised by a ministerial advisory group. They virtually are the peak of the NAMOS operations. So in this group, you have the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources himself. You have the Ministers of Interior, Defense, the Attorney General, the National Security Coordinator, local government, and the Finance Minister, as well as the Executive Secretary of the President, who meet periodically and review how the fight is going. And I can tell you that this is a committed group that meets frequently, almost every month. They meet, give direction, pursue resources that should be used. And so far, we had fruitful working relations with them, and we keep taking the instructions of this ministerial advisory group. Once they take a decision, the minister, of course, gives her direction on day-to-day basis, but they can also convene a meeting anytime and give direction what we should do. At the NAMOS Secretariat, I sit as the Director of Operations, and I have 4 other Deputy Directors. There's one more yet to join who is in charge of the Blue Water Guard. But I have a Deputy Director in charge of Operations, one who is Administrator, and one who is in charge of Research, Evaluation, and Public Affairs. So 4 of them, 1 year to join. And then, of course, we have a lawyer who handles all legal cases. Now, underneath the Deputy Director of Operations is the operational or the tactical wing, which is our plan for addressing the illegal mining. That's the enforcement side. Now, based on detailed research, and I think we mentioned it during His Excellency's engagement in August, we have zoned this country into 7 galamsey-prone regions. 5 of those regions are intact as part of the administrative regions of Ghana. So we have Western North, Western, Central, Eastern, and Ashanti regions, which are intact. But then you look at the spread in the other parts, the Bono and Ahafo enclave, we've compressed them as one region. Then the Savannah zone up to the northern part, also suppressed as the Savannah region. So we have 7. Now, each of these 7 regions, we further sectorized based on our coordination with the Cartography Department of the Minerals Commission and our own research and information on the ground. So each region has further been sectorized into 3, giving us 21 operational sectors. So for Western North, you look at the spread of the illegal mining, you have places around Enchi, we have Bibiani areas, and then the Sefi areas. Those are the 3. We come to Western region. We have the Enzima area, Lembele. It's a bit central, so already we have troops there. Then we have the Hunter West and Poho areas as one. And then Wasa Kropon, the Amenfi areas as one. The Eastern region, or let me go to Central region. Central, you have Apam general area. Then we have Dunkwa Onofin. And then the where they have the immigration training school. Asin Fosu general area, we have one there. Then you go to Eastern region, we have the Nkoko Kwau areas for one. Then you get to Bunsu, Osino, that's a hotbed, another area there, another position there. And then when you go to Oda, Akwatia areas too, we have one there. Then you come to Ashanti region, you have the Konongo and Konongo general area having one. Then you go to Obuasi, another hotbed, one, and then come to Achuma, Punia area, we have one there. Now, these are the 5 existing regions which are intact. Now, the other 2 go to the Bono and Ahafo area. We have Goso, that general area where I had a little brush. Then you come to Brekum and Domahinkro general area. We have another group there. Then you go to the Bono East. We have Wenchi towards Kintampo areas also as one. Then the last bit, when you go towards the northern side, we have Bole Bamboy to handle the black voter all the way up to Nadoli Kalu, Wa areas. That is 2 of them, one at Bole, one at Nadoli, and then the other one at the far east, north. There's Talensi, there's a community there which spread all the way up towards the border. So these are the 21 zones which NAMOS is gradually deploying to have permanent foothold on them. Now, they've been carved out to cover strategic assets and installations. Let me state that NAMOS, on its establishments, government, based on the nature of the galamsey spread, has been given a focus. So we have 4 or 5 critical areas where we focus on. Water bodies is number 1. Forest reserves, number 2. We used to have, I should say, people digging along the roads, major highways, pylons, under pylons, dropping some pylons here and there. So that was a focus, to remove the galamseyers from close to the roads, which were destroying. And then, of course, the removal of chemicals, dangerous chemicals, which were not controlled, cyanide, different acids, mercury. And then, within the small-scale sector, where mostly the illegal miners operate, we also had foreigners. By law, foreigners are not supposed to be operating in the small-scale sector, so we try to remove them from that sector. So these 21 zones were created to take care of these specific areas. So a lot of the time, the water bodies, we try to factor them into the sectors that we created. Forest reserves too were considered, and the key installations I talked about were also considered. How do we collaborate among the agencies? There's a clear format, but before I go there, let's say that the NAMOS, as it operates, has 5 main agencies, organizations. I mean, the field troops. You have soldiers from the Ghana Armed Forces, you have Ghana Police, you have NIB, you have Immigration, and you have Narcotics Control Commission because of the drug in the field. Now, we also collaborate with the Minerals Commission and Forestry Commission, Water Resources Commission, EPA. These are organizations we collaborate with, as well as the CSOs, and then the RECSEX and DISEX. These are some of the organizations we also collaborate with. Now, the Responsible Cooperative and Small Cooperative and Skill Development Program is the new initiative to create sustainable alternatives for the illegal miners. The point is, you can move them from the water, but where do they go? There are a lot of people holding on to concessions which they are not using. As I said, there's reforms where people holding concessions and they are not using. We need to put them to good use so that we can get the miners to get to do what they want to do. Because, look, if somebody does farming for a year and makes little, and then somebody is in the galamsey is making so much, when you ask him to go into farming, some will go, but a lot of them will want to still do mining. So, as His Excellency keeps saying, you need to shift them to do what they want to do, but they need to do it well. So that is why the Responsible Cooperative and Skill Development Program, our concept, is there. Currently, they are in the field registering them, and they are going to teach them, give them the guidance, and then the district assemblies will do that with them so that we can get them places to mine so that they will have no room to get to the waterways and forest reserves. Of course, civil society actively engages us. I mean, eco-conscious people like Aula Sewa, Uncle Kenashibe, Daraboso. They are all people who engage regularly. And I must say that there are some wonderful media people too who also work with us. I mean, Erastus is one person that I dove my heart to him because whatever he sees, he will say it. And I like it because once we get it, we can work on it. Charles Ejiri is in the Western region. He's a UTV correspondent. He constantly updates us on what we should do. And there are a couple of other media personalities throughout the country who also are. So we engage the media effectively. Then we have the progressive journalist against galamsey, which was launched. Nano Tudako and his team are doing a wonderful job. They actually have been at our heels day and night, helping us to know what is happening in the media space, trying to put the news out there so that we can work. So Nanotu and your team, well done, as well as Erastus and Charles. We really appreciate the work you are doing. Of course, Water Resources Commission is one of our partners we collaborate with. Next. So there's a clear format how we collaborate. So the MMDAs, in fact, when we received our mandate, they were written to understand what the NAMOS works. They can also conduct operations, but they have to inform NAMOS. So 48 hours before they conduct operations, they need to tell us. The things they need to tell us are spelled out in the slide. And then after the operations, they have to render account. Accountability is key in this fight. Now, I'll delve into a few achievements to show what NAMOS has been able to achieve. I must say that these metrics were developed up to first week of March. Since March, there's a lot more which have been added, and I want to believe that since I'm told it's going to be quarterly, the next quarter, you see a huge jump in the figures. But let's please flip through. As you can see on the screen, 94 excavators so far seized, secured in our location. Almost 3,000 chamfans destroyed. Those ones, I don't count them. Arrest, you have 237. Majority of them are foreigners. Then you have seen strike rate of 87.7. The strike rate is the Directorate of Research. That's what they do. Anytime we move to the field and we meet one of the key parameters, the things we do, the seizures, the arrest, and the distraction, we count it as a positive. So that determines the strike rate. Now, you've seen immobilized excavators. In the field, when we go national security. We had a few brushes where one of my soldiers was shot. Luckily, it was in his thigh and he's recovering. But as I reiterated the last time, NAMOS will not stand by and watch people use weapons against us. We are better trained in the weapons. And therefore, I'll send a warning out there once again that anybody who does, NAMOS will deal with them ruthlessly. It is a problem that we are trying to address, but we have the right to self-defense. And let no galamsey miss that. If you go to the field with weapon and you try to fire it, a lot more will be at you. So I talked about arrest. Majority of them Chinese. I must say that the Chinese ambassador is also alarmed at the rate at which the Chinese, they don't pass through his hands. And there is a network or a cabal that traffic these Chinese who come. Sometimes they don't even know Accra. They get visa to stay and straight they are sent to the bush. And that is our own citizens who collaborate with them. So we need to watch that space because these are the people who are destroying our forests, our water bodies. Then I think at Osino also, one night, 32 Nigerians. We gloss over the security risk, but that is a huge risk. In collaboration with the national security, we are trying to identify the status of these whenever we arrest them. There's a protocol for the foreigners. They are processed through NAMOS and then to immigration where the enforcement unit handle them accordingly. Some of them go through the trial process, but majority of them, where we don't have enough facts on them, through the Chinese embassy, they are deported. And I'm told that once they are deported, formally, they are blacklisted and they don't get to come back. Indeed, there's one of them who attempted bribing at the onset with about 163,000 cedis. He managed to escape. We trailed him, brought him, and he's gone back to China. He's attempting to come. We keep our eyes on him, even when he's in China. Thank you. So these are some of the statistics that will be available to you after this briefing. I mean, the monthly returns on regional basis, what we do, arrests made, seizures made. As I said, accountability is key in this fight. Next. More details on arrest, as I've said. There are 2 females among the foreigners we arrested. So you can tell the dynamics in the operations of NAMOS. The director of research and his team are always trying to put things together so that we can get it right. And then when people bring complaints, we are able to address them. Next. Further details on the arrests which are made, regional basis. Next. Yes, one phenomenon we observed is the issue of children in the space. They are minors in the space, and that is a concern. So we've relayed to appropriate authorities, social welfare, through the ministry to see how they handle it. We have the details where we got them, and it's a trend. These are not the only ones, but the ones we laid hands on. Then also some of the high-profile galamseyers who are arrested, we have details of them. What happens is that we leave the NAMOS as an operational arm. We keep to clearing the galamsey from the space. Whenever we arrest, we hand over, if you're a foreigner, we hand you over to immigration, and then locals to the local police and the Attorney General to handle the prosecutions. So NAMOS focuses on the operational aspect, getting the water bodies cleared, forest reserves cleared, and then clearing them from along the road. And that is what keeps our focus. Next. Excavators. Every excavator seized by NAMOS is intact. And I reiterate that. Every excavator seized by NAMOS is intact. And accountability, the ministry will render account, and the government will take a decision on what to do. But NAMOS has them safely at locations that when they call, I'll give you. The weapons too are intact. I've received a letter from the Small Arms Commission, and through the ministry, this weapon will be documented and disposed of. Next. So these are further statistics on what NAMOS is doing. operational summary region by region, and the strike rate region by region. Move on. Next. Chamfan details. Now, so with all this, next, combining the number of arrests that we've made, then weapons seized, which is a huge risk. Let me say that reclamation is something we also supervise. At Mansour Dubia in Ashanti region, over 800 acres of land. We supervise for it to be reclaimed. And last month or so, I think the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources was there. And these are huge positive gains which NAMOS is making. The arrests, the seizures, the excavators, and let me say that a lot of structures, illegal mining structures, especially along waterways, have been destroyed. These activities continue to impose huge cost on the galamseyers. The more we impose the cost, the less they'll get the money to go back to the place. But let me say that there are other means where we are trying to stop them, because as I mentioned, the Responsible Cooperative and Skill Development Program needs to give them real alternatives so that they can leave the waterways for us. I think I'll skip some of these challenges because there are challenges in every work that we do. Equipment will continue, the government continues to give us some of these, we still need more. Then the risk that the troops go through. I mean, a soldier going to stop galamsey is shot. It is a huge risk. I was personally involved in one of those, but thank God we survived and we soldier on. So the challenges are there, but we'll continue to move on and get this canker removed from our society. Forecast 2026, we already started. We'll continue to do the flashing through and clearing them, but we've commenced the permanent deployment. I should say that since October last year, there's a team at Mansour Dubia who has done a wonderful job. There's one at Elembele. We've got accommodation at Hunter West, another one at Bogoso, courtesy Charles, our media man there, who is doing a wonderful job and supporting us to get this accommodation. There are others coming on board. By the mid of this year, we want to have 9 out of the 21 permanently established so that they can quickly move to locations. Of course, we are also focusing on clearing the waterways. So since the beginning of this month, we've done before, but we focused on the Ankobra. There are people moving up and down. You know, the river bodies are long. Ankobra is about 190 kilometers. The Pra is about 400 kilometers. The Bia is, I think, 300 kilometers. So, I mean, when you travel from Kumasi to Accra, imagine how long it takes with these bottlenecks. And then you are going to be on water and people hiding in places. So it's a lot of work. But largely, NAMOS is moving to every nook and cranny and making sure that the galamsey situation goes down. We all bear testimony that as of now, the situation has gone down drastically. And that is courtesy the good work NAMOS is doing. We are not out of the wood yet, but we are focused and dedicated to getting this problem solved. Let me end up by sounding this warning to the galamseyers again. As I said in August last year, you have no business going into the galamsey. The government is putting up the cooperatives, the ARCONs, who are going to register. They have a better option opting to do the cooperative. Because once the cooperatives commence, anybody who will see where they are not supposed to be, we will come ruthlessly after them. They still remain the #1 enemy of the state, and NAMOS will smoke them out from wherever they are hiding. Once again, let me take the chance on behalf of the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Emmanuel Kofi, to thank you all for your audience and urge you to continue to put us on our toes, give us the information so that we can collectively fight this canker of illegal mining. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think Kenobua deserves another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. So that basically is the essence of what NAMOS has been doing during the period under review. We shall now proceed to take your questions. There's a microphone at the back if you have a question. It's here. Okay, there's a microphone here, right? So if you have a question, you please move to this side and then you ask accordingly. Just line up here. We shall do them in sessions. First 5 and then we continue. Because of time, we would indulge you to just mention your name, the name of your media outfit, and then you go straight to the point. Let us limit the preambles for now.
My name is Manuel Simon. I work for the New Republic TV. I'd like to find out from you on that. So far, how many people have been prosecuted through your operations? Especially the Kenyans.
Thank you, Manuel.
My name is Kofi Abiyahu. I'm with this general. May I know from the perspective of the armed forces, how beneficial are efforts like external linkages to practice players to have to go and match the galamsey? Because in the estimates there are sample players, so that's the operations. Then the data NAMOS is working with, how many galamsey sites are operational in Ghana now? Are you just fighting the thing?
You are limited to just a question. I think it's fine. Or you have a last one. Just a question is okay. Go ahead.
Could galamsey assist in funding Sahel violence and terrorism? How one can see this? Is it a possibility that we are funding what's happening in the side?
Kofi, thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Ibrahim Hassan, G20 Secretariat. Commander, what would you describe as success in this fight? Yes, progress made, but after it's all said and done, what will NAMOS describe as a success in this fight? And 94 excavators immobilized. What's happening to them?
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Benson. So, one of the first aspects is prevention. And the criticism has been that when you arrest those on the ground, you are not going to prevent an escape from happening. You must rather go for the financiers. Based on your intelligence, have you identified some financiers? Are you pursuing them? Do you have the capacity to pursue them? And can you stop them?
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Randy Haji, Wizard TV. I'm just particular about the fact that we have seen from footages where we saw some reprisal attacks from galamseyers. Have we gotten to the stage where we have to consider shoot to kill? Because some of these guys can be described as criminals, looking at what they are doing to our water bodies. Have we gotten to the stage where we consider shoot to kill? And also, talking about the kingpins, we've heard stories about them over and over again. With the Freeborn Vaccine report, specific titles or designations were mentioned, MPs, politicians here and there. Are you able to tell any of them who among them is standing trial? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So that is the first round of questions. But just before Kenel comes to the podium, when it comes to prosecution is not the mandate of NAMOS. Indeed, it's the AG that is handling that. And let us seize the opportunity to put on record that Cabinet has approved for the establishment of specialized tribunals to deal with all the prosecutions. And so prosecution is not within the ambit of NAMOS's operation. On that note, Kenobua would respond to the first set of questions accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Pavesi, for answering the first one. As I said, prosecution is after we have done our part. and we hand it over. And I'm sure from time to time the Honorable AG comes to give account of that. So that doesn't fall within our operations. Now, there are several questions, so my director of research will highlight them. There was a question about foreign military assistance. I think that what I would say is that the Ghana Armed Forces, the Ghana police and organizations handling illegal money have all the necessary capacities to deal with the problem. However, I would say that, look, there is defense engagement among nations. And if any Ghana Armed Forces or the Ghana Ministry of Defense enters into an engagement with any armed force, why not? There's no harm in acquiring more knowledge. But I should say that we are capable of fighting our own wars, i.e. the galamsey fight. But if any armed forces want to support and the Ghana Ministry of Defense engages, why not? We will still take on the training. That is that aspect. Next question.
How many galamsey sites are operational?
I don't know if the person who asked the question has a clue. Galamsey is everywhere. As I said, if you look at the sectors we've created, if you say galamsey site, one man holding chamfan and money is a site in itself. So there are so many, I can't tell you the number of galamsey sites. However, we know where the enclaves are. We need to do that so that we can have a control of the situation. But to say the exact number of galamsey sites, it will be difficult to determine.
Could galamsey proceeds be funding terrorism?
Violent extremism. My little study about violent extremism and terrorism tells me that there are several sources of funding for violent extremism. Could be trafficking, could be opium, could be businesses, it could be arms smuggling. Once you do galamsey, you can earn what? Money. It could. But the point is that, as I said, we are conscious of countries or citizens from countries where there has been violent extremism. And therefore, when NAMOS hits or strikes and we get such citizens in collaboration with the national security, we feed those details so that they can research and investigate and find out. So I wouldn't say yes, I wouldn't say no. Money can be gotten from every source. And once galamsey is a source of funding, why not? It could be. Next.
What will you describe as success in the fight against illegal?
Some of the successes are what we are seeing. I mean, I started by saying that there was hardly a day you woke up and didn't hear anything or didn't see anything in the news media. Today it's gone down. It means that we are getting success. I mean, imagine what 94 plus 94, 184 machines deployed in the field on our waterways, the level of damage we would have had. There's so many people who've arrested, assuming they had equipment that will seize with them in the field. These forests we have been able to salvage would have been completely wiped out. So that is success. As I said, we are still seeing high turbidity levels, but it's been a long period of mining in the water. I mean, I traveled over 3 hours on the Ankobra River. The whole water, some portions were brown. And we have to ask ourselves, don't we know we are killing ourselves? That is the existential nature of the threat. So I would wish that we all join hands and campaign, go on the ground and stop it. It shouldn't be one man's job, it shouldn't be His Excellency only's job. All of us should be concerned. So success is when our water is cleared. Otherwise, we will not move from there. We will constantly be on the water, and the strategies that will be, as I said, continuously impose cost on them until they don't get the supply. For chamfans, for instance, I know there's a lot being done. You've seen the excavators. There's a law governing the importation of excavators and their use. It was relegated to the background. It's been revisited. So many excavators are being registered and tracked, because by so doing that we can control. There's a law that says that you can't move excavator from one concession to the other, but nobody cared. So I know that there's a system. The Minerals Commission has a monitoring facility. NAMOS is also acquiring a similar one for the surveillance. And all these things, when they come together over a period, because a problem that has taken so many years to create will not be solved in a day. Naturally, it's work in progress. So let us all join hands to bring it to order. Next.
Have you identified some financiers, and do you have the capacity to go after them?
I get a question sometimes, where are the gold you seize from the concession? Where are the gold when you seize? I tell you that NAMOS came out of a research done by an eminent group. And during our work, one of the key things we observe is that, look, you hardly see gold at the galamsey side, not even black. Galamseyers also develop. The story was that during the days of Vanguard, they used to seize their black, their gold, and therefore they revise their notes. So you go there, you only see the boys who are washing, and they say when they see you, they run away, and gives me encouragement that at least they know that they are doing the wrong thing. But the other side, which we all as citizens have to be careful about, is where are they washing the gold? And they are washing it in the community. Mercury is so expensive, so they don't send the mercury to the field. And that is why I'm saying the success rate you should know is that we now know that even some of the sites, they don't wash mercury, so the water they are washing there is just mud. They bring the black to their homes. So you may be living with somebody who is having mercury in his house and washing the black. We should be concerned. The rising levels of cancers and things, these are things that you are media people, please, let's research. Go into these issues because it's very important.
Have you considered shoot to kill?
Hey, I think I mentioned that every member of NAMOS is a security person and they have the inherent right to self-defense. So if you come at me with weapon, attempt to shoot, of course, I must shoot my enemy before he shoots me. But we are also very much minded by the rule of law. We operate within the laws of Ghana. There are rules governing the use of firearms, and the soldiers also have responsibility, or the troops have responsibility for guiding the use of arms. The Ghana Armed Forces and pretty much the police service and all other institutions have rules of engagement that govern the use of firearms in these internal security operations. So we stick to the rules of engagement.
Has any of the kingpins, is any of the kingpins standing trial?
It's got to prosecution. As I said, as much as what we want to remain focused in the field. What happens after the field, I think that there's another state agency that will handle it so that we can focus on the operational aspect. But when we arrest, I mean, if you tell me that Mr. A is doing galamsey, I will only relay it to the appropriate authority that will investigate. My job is to get to the field and make sure that the galamsey is eliminated. But there is that collaboration that goes on. So where we need to relay the message to the next office or authority, we'll do that.
Thank you very much. We shall ready ourselves for the next round of questions, 5 each. Please line up here. After this, we take the next and final round of questions anyway. That would be 15. I think it's ample, given the time constraints that we have. So, like we did earlier, mention your name, the name of your outfit, and then straight to the question. I think the context is very clear.
Congratulations, Commander. My name is Chelsea G. Yeah, Commander, my question is about the ministry. I know you now have about 30 pickups, which, if I'm right, and you have mentioned 21 zones. How is the ministry helping you to get the rest of the cars to print? Because as at now, within the river borders, the major rivers that you need to operate are 7. and it covers about 22% of our whole river bodies in Ghana. So how is the ministry helping you to get the necessary logistics to work within your jurisdiction? Commander, I will also recommend that your outfit will also collaborate with the Ministry of Housing, because you go to this particular galamsey communities.
30 seconds.
Okay. It takes some of the house owners, as you said, to accommodate them. So the Ministry of Housing must also help you to enforce the laws concerning this particular landlords who are giving the houses to them. So how is your institution collaborating with the Ministry of Housing?
Thank you. That's
for such?
right.
Thank you.
Let's keep the questions very brief.
Thank you and your team for the good work. Since I don't have the luxury of time, I will just ask one. What has been the level of political interference in your game? I asked political interference vis-a-vis what is happening on the field, especially where you yourself got attacked at William. And I can say that if that had been any inexperienced officer, he would have lost his life, you know. I want to find out, beyond the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, what has been the cooperation of political actors in your game?
Thank you.
I thought you would have let me finish.
Thank you. The point is well.
Right. My name is Freight Delania Megashia Sassi Radio. Kendall, I want to ask a question based on what the gentleman has just finished asking. Last week, for instance, when the president met Plossack, he admitted that some members of the National Democratic Congress could be involved in galamsey. Usually when NAMOS talk about arrest and securing prosecution, the public is really excited. But the top gangs behind the small individuals who are leading this, menace are usually not brought to book. Since you talk about arrest, I want to find out from you directly. On the field, on the ground, are there any NDC persons you have arrested? And also, on the issue of declaring a state of emergency, we knew what the National Democratic Congress said in the lead up to the elections. And many have thought that the fight against galamsey has faltered. You're on the ground again. Do you think that there's a need to declare a state of emergency? Thank you.
Thank you. Fritz, your question is in twofold. I would respond to one, the matter of the state of emergency. Kenel would attend to the rest. So the principal factor that instigated the call was because, yes, we have 288 forest reserves, 44 had been besieged and impacted. During that period, 9 of them had been taken over by armed illegal miners. That was the principal factor that warranted the cause. But still, through the instrumentality of NAMOS, all of the 9 have been repossessed as we speak. Yes, there are frequent incursions into them here and there, but NAMOS is handling it. And so momentarily, it makes the declaration of state of emergency moot. But for the other question, Kenobwa will provide clarity. Name a question.
Thank you so much. My name is Sarah Brembe, Abin TV. And so I would like you to give the answer in chief.
Okay,
yeah, so this is what I want to ask. It seems like the galamsey, the illegal mining, is a never-ending. Oh, sorry. I said, and for Pano, your point, because any part of the war in person, and you almost sort of livelihood.
And now, I'm going to do Cocoa assassin, so we find a galamsey. It is a CIA or mining na yenya bring and why I say to a CIA. Sir and Cofu. So what's me put your man? And then I'm most say, Betty, I am almost said a bear, so move free one or move come back to baby on my galamsey with us.
Thank you. Last one.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I am Samuel, a broadcast journalist with CTFM and Channel 1 Television. I want to speak about funding. You have made some points about your operation so far, but there's still more to do. So in terms of funding, do you need more support? If you need more support, what is the estimate of amount of money we will need in 2026, the year in review? Then again, my second question would be, how well have the chiefs cooperated? And is it time for us to name and shame? Because definitely we have gotten reports of some chiefs, involved in these illegal mining activities. And then I engaged Patrick Shandov, I think a week ago, on one of our news bulletins, and he indicated that you will be implementing 24-hour surveillance. How far with that? Have you started?
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Chief, you asked about political interference. Okay.
So the first question comes from the previous section.
Yeah.
Where are the 94C excavators?
I think I was unequivocal. We know where they are. I don't want to tell you because you go in. But the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources and the government knows where they are. In fact, the people we seize them from, they know where they are positioned. A lot of them are tracked by their owners. Some of them come and will say, Massa, go to the right sources, but we know where we are keeping them. The database created is by the research department. So they are all intact. They haven't vanished. Next.
How is the ministry helping you with logistics?
The ministry is doing so well. I hope we all know where we sit as a country. The ministry, Honorable Minister, on daily basis. In fact, this morning I was speaking to him twice. Charles talked about 13 vehicles. I must say that we are also innovative. I can count on more than 40 vehicles deployed in the field as I speak to you. So there are innovative ways of getting logistics to function. They are boats being procured, there are vehicles being procured, but they are going through the process. So I'm sure I will update you on this logistics.
Is NAMOS working with the state housing to deal with landlords who encourage home washing on their premises?
That's a new thing to me. So Labo, you are the director of research. Please speak it out. We know that people are washing in their houses, but to the specific houses, we need to send our team from NIV to open their eyes. So thank you very much for that observation.
What has been the level of political interference in your work?
As you saw in the presentation, I captioned it operational interference. So as much as possible, let's keep a discussion here to the operations. If you talk about interference, the interference comes in different forms. I'm telling you that there are media people who even interfere. They are soldiers, they are police, they are pastors, they are imams. Everybody in the society interferes. So I would wish that we shift, because once you brand all of them as political interference, we are going into a place that will make it difficult for the fight. Once we get to Galamsey side and we meet you there, we don't know whether you are CCC, QQQ, or UDS. You are a galamseer, and that is how we'll handle you. As when it comes to prosecution, it's a different thing altogether. So for me, when people want to hide, no, we don't want to do that. We want to keep the operations. And as I told you, there's interference from everybody in society. So let's keep it at that.
Are there NDC members on the ground?
I think the question is answered. As when we get to Galamsey site, we see you as an individual. Until we do that, which we are doing, I don't think this fight will be successful. So let's not dwell so much on the politics. Let's dwell on the people perpetrating crime. That's it. That is how we see Galamseyers. We don't see them by their party coloration.
What are you doing about the people you arrest to ensure they don't return to the field to do that?
So I think that's what my sister mentioned. Also, in country, my country will say responsible cooperative mining. Yeah, who say Galamsey no a livelihood? Say they also kind of. Na obi adwumoye edidi no. Wuntimi nyi enfri ni somewhere who address problem no. Enti cooperative mining no abano. Cooperative mining for no call omo register omo nyina. Omo register omo wi a omo mo baby. I don't say me meetings me no and aba me free cooperative mining madam no e be trans say Mami Weyaba, Ohini Weyaba, Moni Omunka. Then a could do honorable minister who will be what concern because there are several concessions and control you to see them is kind of. And it's a register from 100. On person mine now waji concession says small scale 5 years now you see her. Obviously, I'm running a human. Now you're more baby. As part of that one, because no use chemicals in tea. Responsible cooperative mining for no ebe momo cheche. You catch almost say, look, rivers no one a bit me you see. Even a bit my mechanized borehole, and no see another business. I'm comfortable with 2 borehole a momo. On bit me 2 dams. A bit me a farm crofo. I'm be provided so that omun consuming. And to when you are in cheche cooperative mining for no a rolling out. I check a cra. They see a chance we move. Enti nkakra ube said this year no that is the focus say be shift your of insuring your mount option nasa wo so nkoye no dia and there na NAMOS wo ban so a ye be shishi bibia. It's as simple as that.
Do you need more support? What are your estimates?
The man who asked the question, please, if you have support, bring it. We need vehicles, we need money, we need all the resources. So I think you've been hearing the Honorable Minister speaking, corporate bodies who want to support, why not? The challenge is not for just NAMOS, it's for all of us. I mean, the water you drink, you know where it comes from, the contumely you eat. I don't take meat, the fishes are finishing. So whatever support you can put at NAMOS disposal, why not? Pass through the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, let us receive it, we acknowledge you, and then make it known to the whole nation. You are media people, so we'll call you to come and acknowledge those who support us.
How well are the chiefs supporting you? Have you considered naming and shaming?
There are a lot of chiefs. As I said, there was a bit of a gap with the chiefs, some of them. And I'm telling you that there are powerful chiefs who are behind this NAMOS. I can't name them here. But I'm telling you, on daily basis, they call, Colonel, there's somebody mining behind my house here. He said he has concession. As soon as we get to Minerals Commission immediately, check. If it's an illegal miner, we go and clear them. So the chiefs are cooperating. However, if a chief is recalcitrant and he gets to galamsey pit, well, the operation will sweep him. It's as simple as that. But there are a lot of them, powerful ones, who are helping us, and it's contributing to the level of success we've achieved so far.
Thank you. All right. We shall take the final round of questions, and then we would be out of here. It would be 12 soon, so that you're able to prepare for your respective bulletins. Final round of questions. Yatiti, are you coming? All right, so yeah, and 2 more for the last set of questions. Hello, are you coming? Please come. Any other? Nadede. Right, we are done. Please go.
Yeah, home of us. Many questions and questions are what is about when he am a party said. Now, you will say, when you papa, accident to see him and if you know. Now, also, before you got to share also to 2 and may become when you papa. Can I patch your own coffin out of or more insurance?
All right, proceed.
My question is, have you been to a community by name Asanga? And if you've been to this particular community, what are you doing about people who are engaged in the construction and moving of agricultural farm? Tell you what money is being used on some of these sites, because I was there some time ago and I saw how they displayed these supplies on the stretch, and indeed, obviously, we all know what are you going to do going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Armstrong. Very last one.
My name is Nadine. I work with GH1 TV and Star FM. My question is in relation to the blue water plants. How helpful have they been to your patients? Because one of the key things we're told about is that they are going to be in the community to serve as informants and workers. So how impactful have they been to your work? Also, with regard to your operations, I think one of the very notable ones that you did was in relation to Abrewa and Lincoln, right? That's area. What is the level of success when it comes to people returning to some of these areas? Because some of these areas are a whole communities, and socialization, everything is thriving in those areas. So what exactly is happening to those? Do you have instances where they are returning to those communities, or you are ensuring that people do not return to those areas? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. These questions will be answered in 5 minutes and then we'll be wrapping up.
Thank you. I think Abroa Lincoln was a mass operation conducted by Ghana Police Service and the Ghana Armed Forces. And I must say that when operations are conducted, the idea is not to take the people away from their land. We are stopping them from doing the wrong things. So let's get that underlining fact, that we conduct operations, the ills are removed from there, the people can continue with their lives. Because it's not like you are taking them away from there. Where do you send them? So Abroa Ninkran and several other communities within the area will continue to monitor. I'm sure the aim of punishment is to reform. So once the people stop doing the galamsey and destroying the things they were destroying, they can continue their lives all right. Sustainable livelihoods, I think that came up. Blue Water Guard have been doing wonderfully well. In fact, possibly the next engagement will bring you clips of what they are doing exceptionally well. They are doing exceptionally well. I mean, what we are doing now is to empower them. Where they are not even to enforce, they go ahead and enforce. And they tell the number of chamfans they are burning, galamsey they are seizing, stopping from happening. They are doing exceptionally well. We can only help them to improve. I remember about a week ago, I was discussing with the Honorable Minister to see how we can continually train them, because they need to be reminded, as well as the NAMOS troops. And then, as you saw in the slide, we want to integrate them the more so that they will be empowered to provide the good support in terms of information sharing they are sharing. But on a daily basis, we are meeting them, we are taking information from them, and that is leading to the focused operations we are conducting.
What are you doing about the chamfan sellers and manufacturers at that time?
Okay, so the chamfans, you know, chamfan is a small machine. It's like a motor. And the chamfan, I'm told, can be used to generate power, can be used to irrigate land. So chamfan has several uses. So people have asked, why are we not banning it? It's business for people. So I'll leave that to the policy sphere. The issue is that we will continue to destroy chamfans which are used to do galamsey. I know that the EPA has secured legislation that allows for destruction of their fabrication centers. So we'll support the EPA to that. There are other areas we've gone around Obuasi where we've gone to destroy some, where Asanko, we will come there. Thank you for giving us the information. But we focus more on the water areas, riverine areas, because those areas, when we see you fabricating, it means that you have no other use than to use it on the water to do galamsey. Sometimes the difficulty, if the person is far away in the mainland and he's doing it for something else, then you can't go also causing chaos. But as long as we see it close to the water body, whether it's fabrication center or we'll demolish all of them. You can give you about 10 hours of videos of the level of destruction we cause to galamsey kit, and we'll continue to do that.
Has NAMOS got insurance for field personnel?
Every security person has a state insurance. But individuals also have their own. MSAO country. Obi our security or insurance from the state. And now individuals so me there. But aban na hwe me. Enti na me dey mo asi o se me adwuma. Enti there's occupational hazard. Sometimes you see, but yet try as much as possible say obi abe protecting no. But state no so provided. Nipa na ebo ni to no me ka cha no ho atono. You doing well. Yeah, so my dear friends from the media, once again, let me thank you so much for accepting to come even at a very short notice. NAMOS is working. It is work in progress, and the successes chalked have been phenomenal. We will continue to deal ruthlessly with galamsey, continue to focus on the waterways, along the roads, remove chemicals from the space, remove aliens or foreigners from the small-scale sector. It is our hope that one day we'll sit down here together and say that, look, there's real sanity in the mining space, as has been the dream of the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, with the guidance of His Excellency the President. So rest assured, to galamseyers, let me sound this note of caution again. You have the R concept, please opt for that. The waterways will be uninhabitable for you. NAMOS will deal ruthlessly. Will you continue to impose costs on you? And will fight you ruthlessly, especially in the waterways. So if you have a relative, please advise them. The galamsey, they are science and financiers. You are still the #1 enemy of the state. So please opt for the responsible cooperative mining so that we have a fruitful mining space in Ghana. Once again, I thank you all for coming, and God bless us all.
Thank you very much. For those of you who are going live, we have 2 more items to exhaust, and then we'll be out of here. The very first one is a solidarity message from the patriotic journalist against galamsey, Nana Otudako. In 2 minutes, you do that, we take the closing prayer, and then we are out of here. Please, Nana represents the patriotic journalist against galamsey. Please put your hands together for him.
Thank you so much, Pakwasi. Sure. Director in charge of NAMOS, all protocols duly observed. So to those who thought the fight was impossible, I think that we will go reporting to our people that there is hope. To the detractors who thought that it was quite impossible to arrest this menace, we will go telling those who sent us that we see a new kind of generational leaders who have the determination, the resolve to want to clamp down on galamsey. We are grateful that you have been the repository of our hope and our confidence. Now, on behalf of the leadership and members of Patriotic Journalists Against Galamsey, PAJAC, I bring warm greetings and congratulations to the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NAMOS, for organizing this all-important Editors Forum and quarterly press briefing. We commend His Excellency the President for the decisive political will, and as well as the Honorable Minister for the positive inroads he has made. We particularly take pride in the repeal of the LI 2462, the operationalization of NAMOS, the introduction of Arts Concept, and the creation of Blue Water Guard Initiative. This is our strongest, most structured response Ghana has ever witnessed.
Welcome back to our studios here at number 5, Owula Hansen Lane at Tesano in Accra. We just returned from the Information Services Department Press Center, where the Director of Operations for the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NAMOS, Colonel Dominic Bois, has just ended that quarterly briefing session with editors of various media houses to brief and to update the general public on the operations, the activities, the successes, the challenges, as well as the projections of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NAMOS. A lot has been said, and we've curated same in reports that will air in our subsequent bulletins here on Channel 1 TV. Do make a date with us. Coming up next, there is a news feed here on Channel 1 TV. But of course, we'll have updates for you in our major news bulletin later at 8 p.m. today, the Channel 1 newsroom. I am Nana Tufo Boateng. Many thanks for your time.
This Easter,